Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be updating my reading journal. This first spread that I'm making is for Life in Smoky Blue, volumes 4 and 5. If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you might remember last year, it was honestly, I'm pretty sure in March last year, I read volumes 1 through 3 of Life in Smoky Blue, and I immediately knew that it was one of my favorite manga series ever. It's a BL, of course, about these two men who are, I want to say 38 or 39 when the story begins. They're honestly both kind of the main character, but I would say Azuma is the main character and Kuji is the male lead. Kuji and Azuma used to work together back in the day, and then Kuji decided he was going to leave the company. And on this day when he was leaving the company, they had like a little work party and stuff. And when they're leaving the party, Kuji is like, you want to go somewhere else? And so they have this night together, but then they don't see each other for literally 8 years. And then that's how the beginning of the story starts, is they just happen to run into each other at a bar, and Kuji kind of like saves Azuma from this sketchy guy. And Azuma wakes up at Kuji's house. He's in this like beautiful old style Japanese house. I think I said last year whenever I was talking about this, it's not old, but it's kind of like something that would have been built in like maybe like the 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that. And the house itself just has such a presence. In volumes 1 through 3 especially, there's such a like lingering sadness. The vibe is very melancholic. You know how I love an atmospheric story. There are just all of these memories tangled up between the two of them, but then also their childhoods. And of course for Kuji, like this house, it reminds him of sort of the tragedies he's faced in his life. The whole entire series is honestly like this. It's so reflective and a bit sad because it's showing what it's like to grow up, not even just to grow up, to get old, honestly. The difficulties of getting old, but also the beautiful things, the fact that there's still joy, the fact that you can still start over, that you can begin a new life, you can fall in love, but also just the really sad things too. I mean, dealing with grief and the loss of loved ones, and also kind of like preemptive grief, like watching your parents get older and older. Also just like the general anxiety and uncertainty of the future, of your future. Azuma, for example, is making a career change, a pretty big career change. He wants to earn money, of course, but also follow his passions. And there are just so many interesting interactions with all of the characters around the both of them as well. Again, some of them quite sad. I can't remember if it was in volume 4 or volume 5, but Kuji has a talk with the like housekeeper, I guess you would say, the helper that used to come to his house when he was a kid. And that was so heartbreaking to me. Everything in the series is just so real, so realistic. Even like Azuma, his relationship he has with his sister, she's the eldest and she's also the daughter. You know how that works, you know, so she's taken on so much of the share of kind of having to not take care of their mom necessarily, but sort of like look after her, look after him. He's been living at her house unemployed for a while. And he has a moment where he realizes just how deeply he appreciates her. There's just so many little things like that that truly, like they're just so real. Even if Life in Smoky Blue were not a romance, it would still be one of my favorite series. Like it is at the top, if not, it's definitely in the top 3, if not top 2. It's just so beautiful, so well written. And speaking of the romance, oh my God, Kuji and Azuma are so in love. I realized whenever I was rereading volumes 1 through 3, and then of course reading the next volumes, that whenever explicit scenes are written, there is such like joy on their faces. That might sound so silly, but like they're literally smiling. I feel like I don't ever read that. Their love in general is just so like passionate and understanding. And it's so interesting too, because they are approaching middle age, if not already middle aged. I think that's why they don't feel a need to define their love exactly, you know, with, oh, this is my boyfriend, whatever. But also at the same time, like it's obviously undeniable that they are very much in love with each other. And I think volumes 4 and 5 really solidified that. I feel like it kind of took a while, but it made sense. And it was nice for it to be not exactly a slow burn, but like, I think it's realistic that sometimes it might take you a while to kind of own up to your own feelings. I cannot recommend this series enough. It is truly so good. I think it's up to volume 8 now, or maybe volume 8 is ongoing. I also think there's only one person who works on the translation of this story, which is a bit sad because, you know, of course, that person is surely busy, has their own life to live. So I don't know when I'll get to read volume 6 or 7 or even any of 8, but that is fine with me because the series is so worth it. Oh, also for those of you who like to watch dramas, the other day I saw a tweet that this is getting made into a drama. So if you're into dramas, maybe read the series and then check that out. I don't really like watching TV, as you know, so I don't know if I will, but I love the series so much. And because it's getting made into a drama, that makes me feel a bit more like, oh, maybe it'll get translated officially into English one day. I can only dream and hope and wish and pray and beg for it to be translated officially into English one day. But seriously, please read this. I even cried one time while reading volume 5, I think. I just really love the characters and the story so much. The next and the last spread in today's video is of course my March reading log. The first thing I read in March was a BL manga called A Lover's Contract, and I actually talked about that in another video. I think it was 2 videos ago. And then after that I read a BL manga called The Hedgehog and the Shades Volume 1, and I talked about that in that same video. And then after that, I read a short BL manhwa called Cottage Garden. It was a historical story. It was set, I think, in the 1950s, maybe like the 1940s into the 1950s. And it was just about these 2 men who had known each other when they were like at boarding school as children, but they one of them vanished from the other one's life. And then they reconnected as adults. The translation was it was like in The Great Gatsby, how Jay Gatsby says old sport like 100 times. It was like that. The translation was so silly, but I absolutely loved the art, especially like the outfits were so nice because it was set in the 1950s, but the art was really, really beautiful. Like a very distinct art style. So I really hope that author writes more in the future because I would absolutely read it. After that, I read a BL manga called Ao and Midori, and that's by the same author as Countdown to Yes, which I read last year and absolutely loved. But I didn't really like Ao and Midori that much. It was just 2 men who clearly liked each other but never really said anything until they were adults. After that, I finished reading The Age of Earthquakes. I don't even really know how to describe this book. It's sort of like an art book. It's basically social commentary on how the internet and social media is changing our lives. However, it came out in 2015, and so there was honestly something kind of like creepy reading it, like almost dystopian about reading it, because it was talking about how, dystopian our world is getting with the internet, with social media, but it's like it's gotten worse from that time. So I thought it was really interesting. It's put together in a very artsy way though. Like some pages had like nothing on them except an image. Maybe some pages would just have a sentence. The back of the book said, "You are the last generation that's going to die." Like just very profound things like that. I got that book from the library and I honestly wished I owned a copy for myself. I actually read it because Ryan Finn recommended it, or she mentioned it in one of her videos. I literally feel like I'm in like a Harvard lecture whenever I watch her fashion videos. After that, I read Myther Volume 1 and Myther Volume 2, which I talked about in my last video. And then I finished reading The Hounding. Actually, I finished listening to it, I should say. It was an audiobook that I got from the library. I actually wanted to read the book last summer, I think. I feel like maybe that's when it came out. It's basically a story about these 5 girls, these 5 sisters in this town in, I don't want to say medieval England, but back in the day, for sure, back in the day in England. And everyone in the town has like different ideas about them, different thoughts about them. And it's so interesting because the story is about them, but it's never from their point of view. They never get their own chapters. The story is told by the people who are around them, mostly the men around them actually. And basically there's this one like town drunkard essentially. And he is like, those girls turn into dogs. I saw them turn into dogs. And it's kind of like the hysteria surrounding that. So of course it was discussing misogyny and the violence of men. For me, in my notes I wrote, I think that the storytelling was like a double-edged sword, because I loved that the story is told around the girls and not about them. But also I had just wished I was reading about the girls, After that, I read Wandervogel. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Volume 1. It's a BL manga that's split into 2 stories, and the characters are kind of the same in both stories. I did not love it. I can see why it has a sequel though, because I felt like the characters that were in the second story were like a lot more interesting. The second story also almost kind of leans into magical realism. I'm not sure if that's what the sequel is going to be about, but honestly, just in general, the way it was written was kind of confusing. I don't even know how to explain to you what it's about. But one thing I really, really loved is that when you start the first page, you're just immediately dropped into the story. I love that so much. Like there weren't even like any little like text box that came up on the page that were like, oh, this is so-and-so, like, give their names, who they are. None of that. Like you're just in the story. I love that. That is such good writing. After that, I read Stand By Me, which is a BL manga. It was about these 2 guys who stand the same idol group, and they both have the same bias, and they end up meeting each other because one of them has an extra ticket to a concert, and they fall for each other. Fun enough. Like it was okay. I don't know how memorable it will be of a story, but I like the concept of that. After that, I read a BL manga called Peiko and Sensei. I think that's Peiko, like the candy. It's by this mangaka who wrote Mitsuka, I think is what the series is called. I've always wanted to read their work because like it looks interesting, but I'm like, would I like it? I felt like Peiko and Sensei was okay. It was one of those stories where like it needed to be longer. If that had been like 2 volumes, I think it would have been fantastic. The beginning was definitely the most interesting part. The 2 of them were kind of using each other, I guess, as I think how they phrased it in the manga. When the main character was younger, he had a crush on a teacher who ended up being like a terrible person because he got another student pregnant. So like prison. Yeah, prison. And then the male lead is a professor, and he was kind of angry at like his students in general because he had to be on disciplinary leave because they saw him like at the gay club or something. Like it had promise, but in the end it was just kind of like But I do think if it had been a longer story, it would have been really interesting. After that, I read Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 2. I don't know why I'm reading the series, just because I love Jujutsu Kaisen so much. I just don't want to like exit the world. And I've never read the manga before, so it's definitely fun. After that, I read a book that I got from the library physically with my own two eyes in my own two hands. It was called The Amberglow Candy Store. It's one of those books that like constantly gets translated, usually from Japanese, that like kind of like Before the Coffee Gets Cold, that sort of thing, where it's like people end up at this place that sort of exists between our world and a different world, and like they learn a lesson. It was okay, it was fine. I liked that it kind of introduced a lot of different like traditional Japanese sweets that I'd never heard of before, and I actually really liked the last story, probably because it was giving like forbidden love BL story to me. After that, I reread volumes 1 through 3 of Life in Smoky Blue, and then read volumes 4 and 5, which I just talked about. And then the final thing that I read in March was a short novel. It was a memoir. I've been wanting to read it for so long. I've had it downloaded on my iPad for literally forever. And it's just this very sad story about this man, the author, who fell in love when he was 17 with the son of a farmer in their like rural French village. So sad, so compelling though, like the way it was written. Oh, also the translation was done by Molly Ringwald. What? I really enjoyed it, even though it was sad. I read it in one sitting. Like, it's a pretty short book to get through. I'm definitely going to read more of the author's work, especially because I think he has a new book coming out in May, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, that is everything I read in the month of March. Now that I'm finished making this spread, we can go put all the spreads that I made today into my digital journals. I was just sitting here for maybe like 15 minutes trying to think about what I was going to say at the end of this video, and I looked up at the top of the couch because my journal is always up here, and also my Myrtle has been up here recently because, you know, I've been carrying it around because I'm always constantly doing one. And then I was like, wait, where's my Myrtle? And I was like, did my mom take my Myrtle with her to church? Did she think it was her Bible? And then I looked and I realized it had fallen down into the couch with me, and I'm sitting here and I bent the cover. I'm so upset right now. I need to go put it under something heavy. I cannot believe that. And I'm almost finished with it too. Like, I think I have maybe like 6 puzzles left. I get almost to the end of the book's life and I bend it. The boy cries you a sweater of tears and you kill him. Like, what? I really cannot keep sitting here just staring into space though, because I have stuff that I need to do today. I have stuff that I want to do today. Oh, one of the things I want to do is finish a movie, which I'll probably tell you about in the next video, even though I know I'm not going to want to make a spread about it, but I'm holding myself to my word. But I'm not reading. I'm watching this movie because I'm about to read something. You'll see in the next video. I'm excited about that. I just know that I have free time today, so I'm trying to do literally everything all at once because yesterday I did nothing except read, which is perfectly fine with me. Oh, also I'm almost finished with my Hello Kitty diamond painting. That's exciting too. By the time you're watching this, it's also April. Oh my gosh, why is the year going by so quickly all of a sudden? January took 9 years and now it's April. Oh my god. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Everything I used in today's spreads will be in my Pinterest board. The link to that is in the description box, along with the links to all of my other social media accounts, as well as the links to all of the Google Drive folders for all of my journal deco kits. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. I hope your April has gotten off to a good start. I hope you're feeling the spring and or fall vibes. Not and or, it's either one or the other. I really appreciate you hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone!